Hi, it's Wayne from the Brisbane store ADRENO. We're going to talk about how to choose a knife. Of course, the foremost reason to have a knife is for safety. Entanglements like mono underwater, or perhaps you need to free up a boat that's caught by an anchor and you need to cut the rope. Most knives have a good, sharp, serrated edge which will get through ropes, especially tight ropes. If it's a short serrated edge, that may not be so good in an emergency situation. The two major reasons that spearos carry knives are one, for the dagger, sharp tip, to humanely kill the fish by putting a spike into the brain. The other one is to burly. So the first reason, the spike. This is an example of a good spike for a fish. This is your salvimar, very sharp. Not a huge long edge there on the burly, but it is very much made for getting the spike into the brain. Most of these knives do have that dagger end, made for that purpose. That's why you don't see us carrying the blunt knives around. We've got sharp tips to humanely kill the fish. The next reason is, of course, burly. Now, burly really needs a fairly good serrated edge. This is the one I use. This is your torpedo. It's Mac torpedo. It's an Italian-made knife. It's got a burly edge that goes pretty much the length of that blade. When I'm burling, I'm holding the fish or frame in this hand and I'm burling like this, cutting away from me, of course. You do have to take your time. It's no good burling part of your hand. Okay, so you're cutting like that. This knife with that edge there will go through frame, go through backbone. It's a great knife for that. A knife like this, see the small area? It's not so easy to burly with. Your burly edge is that far. Another great knife for burly is this bochet. You can have a look, see that edge there? It's got a slightly different sort of serration there. It's a great edge for burly, same thing. And this is being a long knife, it gives you plenty of area to get the burly happening. Everybody seems to build up their own preferences on knives. For example, this one here is a great knife to do the jab to the brain. It's not going to be much for a burly knife. And this is your Oma. It's the one that comes custom made to sit on your arm. So you've got the pouch there, you grab it here, out, plonk. So it's a handy knife. Wouldn't think about using it for burly, I'd have another knife. And I actually carry two knives. That comes from my very early times in spearfishing. I shot a little yellowtail yakka, cut it up in the water. And as I'm cutting it up, I just got this feeling that I was being looked at. And I looked up, there was a school of kingfish surrounding me. I got such a fright, I dropped my knife. Didn't even notice it. Pulled up my gun and shot one of them. Tail shot him, of course. He went ballistic around everywhere, and finally I managed to grab him in my arms, and it was one of those adrenaline moments that you get fairly early on when everything goes wrong, but you think it's just great. And then I had to kill him, and he was still struggling a bit, and I managed to use the tip of the spear with, things like that. And at that point in time, I went, I'm going to carry two knives. And from that day, I've always carried two knives. Now, I carry actually one of these Picasso tiger knives on my leg. Not for burly, I go for this sharp tip. It's a very sharp tip. It comes in this magnetic pouch, like so. The magnetic pouch is a little bit new for us. I bought this a while ago when it came in a plastic scabbard, and I have been putting it in this Rob Allen scabbard on my leg. So it just slips into that well with a nice big string off the top here, tied off the top, so I can just grab the string and pull it out, and I find that suits me very well. But such a scabbard is a fine one, if you even for the, say, the Adrenaline Slim knife. This is your slimline here. Comes with a similar scabbard. Okay, you just got to be gentle when you put it in. If it doesn't go straight in, you just move it back and forward like so. Okay, it's held in by pressure. It's not going to come out. Okay, so you can dive and things like that. And they've got a string on here, which is the right idea, but I like it a bit longer with a couple of knots in it, so I can grab hold of it. And the beauty of it is, you pull it out, you can be doing something and still have the knife in your hand. Okay, and then you can sort of grab it and carry on using it. So it's very handy to have a string attached to the top of your knife. Okay, so that is fine for a leg knife. The beauty of these flat scabbards, like so, or the one that it comes with here, is that it can sit against your leg, like so, and not catch on your rig line, your float line. One of these, put that on the outside of your leg, and the float line constantly gets through this. So if you're carrying one of these on your leg, put that on the inside of your leg and it won't get caught up so much. Outside your leg, which is very handy, just reach down and lift it up. Use one of these flat knives. So I carry a flat knife with a sharpened point on my leg, and then on my belt I've got the torpedo. The good thing about one of these ADRENO knives, and we certainly sell a lot of them for the main reason, is we all seem to lose knives. And this is our Poseidon knife. It's got a little clamp system where you push that in and it lets the knife out. The good thing about this, as I said, is you can lose it and you're losing 15 bucks worth, and this one 25 bucks worth. It's not a big deal. And I used one of these knives for a couple of years after I lost a $120 titanium knife, I remember. And so they're not, you know, as a kill knife on your foot, they're just fine. On your leg, they're just fine. And that pretty much rounds out our little talk about knives. All the best. Happy spearing.